All right, this meeting of the Tyler ISD Board of Trustees is called to order. We have a quorum, and the meeting has been duly called, and the notice of the meeting has been posted in the time and manner required. We are meeting early today because we have a luncheon to attend for the Tyler ISD Foundation. So typically we wouldn't be meeting at 9 a.m., but here we are because we love the work that they do, and we want to be present there. So moving on, the first item we have is public participation, and we do have a speaker, Thomas Wilson. You want to come up, Mr. Wilson?
Good morning, Board. How are y'all today?
Good morning.
Good. I am here on behalf of Smith County. My name is Thomas Wilson. I'm an Assistant District Attorney in the Civil Division. And as you may know, we made an offer on the TISD Ag Barn out off 69, and so I am here to answer any questions that y'all may have about that offer. So, and if you have any questions during the session regarding that item, I would be more than happy to answer those. So, thank y'all.
Okay, thank you. All right, moving on, the next item on our agenda is executive session. We're going to roll in there and be out shortly. Okay, we are back from executive session, and we do have some action to follow on items, section 7 of our agenda, items A and B. Do I have a motion or discussion beforehand on those particular items, considering the sale of property known as the Ag Farm?
Mr. President, I'd like to make some comments before we entertain a motion. Public trust is something that this board has done a good job of cultivating over the last 10, 15 years. And so part of that is the integrity of our purchasing system and processes and policies. And so we're faced with a little bit of a challenge or dilemma here today where we've received an offer outside of those processes after a published deadline had expired, even though that entity had an opportunity to participate in that process. It's one that we disclose publicly. The challenge comes in that their offer is a little higher than the other offer. So I think we're faced with a challenge here of what's more important, the integrity of our purchasing process or a few extra dollars. And I think the answer there is simple. The importance of the integrity of our purchasing process wins out today. So, Mr. President, I make a motion that we consider that we accept the administration's offer to sell the property after our purchasing process has been faithfully followed to Southern Utilities and Dennis H. Walker.
Thank you, Reverend Hager. Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed? Okay. The ayes have it and the motion carries. Thank you for those words, Reverend Hager. Somebody once told me, you're only as good as your word, and I think our policies and our processes are our word here, and we need to honor that, and the community recognizes when we do that and when we don't do that. So, okay, so that was for items A and B on the agenda. That motion covers both of those. And so now we're on to continuous improvement. It looks like we have a bilingual English as a second language program evaluation report.
We have Anna Sangaline and Shauna Hiddle that are representing the Curriculum Instruction Department today to provide this bilingual ESL program evaluation report with brevity. And we're doing this as part of compliance. We get a lot of data reported in here throughout the year. However, certainly some of these traditional reporting still remains from even the past 20 to 25 years about what the report that the board is to receive and whatnot. So Anna's going to run through this so that we are in compliance, and yet we're still able to report during the TAPER report and continuous improvement other opportunities. Take it away.
Okay. Good morning, President of the Board, members of the Board, Dr. Crawford. So I bring to you the Bilingual ESL Program Evaluation Report as required by TEA. So out of our over 18,000 students, 20% are English language learners. And when teachers serve English language learners, they have to have an ESL certification that is an addendum of the regular certification. When they don't have one, we have to file a waiver, and these are the numbers that we have projected for this year. For the teachers that are on a waiver, we need to provide a professional development plan so that we can address their performance and help them, and that's how we're going to do it, one at district level, and then ongoing on campus on a more personalized type of training.
Do you mind going back one?
Yes,
So we have 15 waivers this year
a total of 31.
for bilingual and
Yes.
16 ESL.
Yes.
Okay, you went through that kind of fast.
And it just catches your eye. Last school year, we had 6 total, now we have 31. Do we have a reason why that is the jump there?
Well, we're not I mean, it's a pretty competitive market. So we do things, we do recruit in Puerto Rico, we do recruit in Spain. In the Philippines as well, that's right. You'd be amazed how many folks come from the Philippines that are bilingual. So it's just one of those years. I can't say whether or not we're gonna go back to those other levels, because you also got to look at the effectiveness of teachers as well, which is part of, I think, some of the issues that we have. You know, we can't DOI these folks and call them certified, because it's a federal requirement. There's a lot of people that are walking around Tyler, Texas, walking around Texas that are bilingual, that have not chosen education as their primary profession, but probably would love to, but having to go back and get bilingual certification is something that's a hindrance there. So that and special ed are the 2 programs that you cannot DOI anyone. So we'll continue to look, but again.
So they are teachers.
Yeah,
They're
we have
just not
teachers that-
certified as
and
bilingual.
quality, yeah, and
And
identifying
ESL.
credential to beat bilingual ESL. That's right. So we'll keep looking and certainly searching and recruiting, but we all want, just like we do with the principal, we want a quality principal leading our schools. We want quality teachers inside of our classrooms. Just because it's a federal requirement for bilingual and ESL certification doesn't always mean that makes someone an effective, qualified teacher. So we'll keep looking for it, but at the same time, we've got folks that are in our classrooms.
Dr. Crawford, how are we doing with recruiting from within our high school graduates?
Yeah, it's going to take time to kind of work that way. We do have our Grow Your Own programs. And it goes back to the same thing we've been talking about at this table for quite a while now is, man, when you read the media and in our newspapers, not our newspaper, because our newspaper does a really good job of celebrating our teachers, but I'm just talking about statewide. There's been such an attack on the public ed profession. It's made it difficult to recruit within. But we certainly do have some kiddos that are in the pipeline. We have at the CTC we have awesome education pathway that we have more kids enrolled in that now. The state's done a better job in redesigning the curricula for education pathway. It used to be only about early childhood. Remember the old Kate classes for early childhood? It was only focused on EC2 or something like that. Well, now we're talking about K through 12 focus on Grow Your Own. So it's there. It's whether or not we can make it a profession to where your livelihood is comfortable, and at the same time that they know that they can be celebrated for being a teacher. We're doing a better job of that. This last legislative session, I really think went a long way in celebrating the teaching profession again for the first time in years.
And if I may clarify, so these are teachers, it's just what they are needing is the ESL endorsement. So it's not that they are not certified, they have a certification already, it's just enhancing. And we are also offering test certification trainings. So the teachers come to our trainings and then they go take the test. So we anticipate most of them getting certified.
Okay.
One other,
This is not new for Tyler. I mean, this process has always been
up and down depending from year to year. And so having teachers that on my campus that came from Spain, they're good teachers. They just haven't met the certification requirements for the state of Texas and possibly the United States.
And
So,
they're an ocean away from home.
right.
I mean,
and so
yeah.
Me too.
Now, I was just going to add that the ESL certification exam, I mean, the certification for ESL is not terribly difficult. It's just the time involved to get that. But with the bilingual certification, that is a difficult test.
It is.
And so if we're offering certification preparation for that, that would be really, really helpful. I mean, intense training on that, because it's very, very hard.
And I don't know
Yes,
if we,
we are.
I don't know if we can get it today or not, but 2 and 4, those waivers that we filed last year compared to how many bilingual ESL slots we need is pretty thin as far as the percentage goes about how many were not certified. And I even think 15 and 16 is still probably your percentage of how many folks that you've got, how many spots we need, Ron and Tasha, how many spots we need versus how many we already have filled. That's probably still in the 90 percentile range about how many we need as far as how many waivers we're actually asking for. So reporting this data gets a little magnified, but I still think that we have over 90% of our slots filled as far as what we need.
I think that context is important. My question was just going to be, are we doing everything? It sounds like we're doing everything we should be doing on the recruiting side, on the training and support side once they're getting here, the assistance to helping them. Is there something on the stipend or some sort of market-based solution where we need to be more aggressive with this subset of our teachers because of these special skills? And I mean, obviously, I know we all want these kids in these classrooms to have the best possible teacher that we can get. Is this, because of the market forces you mentioned, the difficulty of finding these teachers, special ed teachers, should we be thinking of stipends or something even more aggressive than I know you have been in the past?
Something more aggressive, yes. I don't really want to play my cards on that. But there might be some other things that could be done outside of just stipends. Because I think a lot of people are getting stipends. So there might be some, we give $3,000 right now, is that correct, Tasha? Yeah. On bilingual. So yeah, you could probably look at increasing that. I don't know if that really, I mean, I think you guys start looking at some other parts of the state that are doing some creative things that when they have shortages, not just on these, but just teaching shortages. Look at Midland, Odessa right now. They're talking about faculty housing. I'm not saying it's something we need to do, but that is something that, I'm just saying you got to think those are the types of ideas that need to happen. So, yeah, Ron?
We're expanding the regions that we're able to recruit in. Right now, we are recruiting it to go to Mexico City. That's been the interest because of the visa process and all that in years past. So
Yeah.
Letty has worked with the state to get us eligible to go and recruit in Mexico. So we're looking at different avenues to put a dent in those numbers. So
Yeah, it's been crazy on the federal regulations. You go to Spain, you go to Puerto Rico, you could go to the Dominican, you could go to some of these countries in South America, right, Anna?
We're trying Argentina.
Right.
Right
But
now,
I'm saying
I'm trying contacting, yes.
it's been open.
Yes.
Mexico has been closed right in our own backyard for some goofy reason. When we have a federal requirement, the closest one to us has been closed, and now it's open. So that we think that's going to help us also. So, but some of those other creative ideas, Reverend Hager, are something we probably need to consider down the road. I'm not in a panic mode yet, but I don't know if that's the one we need to think about. But that is something that's being done statewide that could help alleviate some of those concerns.
Okay, sorry for derailing your presentation.
That's okay. All right, so the next thing that I need to showcase as per TA is the academic progress of ELs according to the language in which they are tested. So these are the kids that we tested in English last year and how they did. This is measured by STAR, okay? And then the kids that were tested in Spanish. And you will notice, of course, the numbers are significantly lower, and that's because we tried to get the students tested in English and acquiring English as fast as we can. Dual language programs, we have 5 schools out of all the bilingual schools implementing dual language. I'm happy to report that 4 of them were and within the top 5 schools for the district, and you can see the number of distinctions that they earned. They are at different levels of implementation. Some of them are dual language all the way to 5th grade, some of them are 4th grade, 3rd grade, so we are still in different levels of implementation. The dual language program, we started testing them on the Spanish acquisition so that we could monitor how much Spanish they are learning. And I have 5 slides, and if you look at the progression, we are really on target to where our 1st grades were beginners in Spanish and our 5th grades are being advanced high. So that's really good data for us. TELPAS is the test that tests the English language proficiency of our students. The target this year was 36, and we had 30% of the students met the target. And this is not just bilingual students, it's ESL, so it's from K through 12. Once the students reach their highest level of proficiency and they pass either the reading test and the English writing test, they can exit the program, and these are the number of kids that exited last year. Parental denial means that the parents did not give us permission to serve, and so they are not in bilingual or ESL classes.
Do you have that data by grade level?
I can provide it, yes. Okay. Sorry, the other way. Accountability for us is also measured through the performance-based monitoring system, and these are some of the different indicators that we had. We moved up in 3 of them, and we remained the same. This is very good data for us. So we are happy the way that we performed. And finally, we offer, and you guys have on your packets, you have an extensive list of the trainings that we offered last year. This is the number of people attending our trainings, and that includes bilingual ESL teachers, it includes administrators, and just regular ed teachers that came to our trainings. And that's our department, and thank you so much for listening to me.
Okay, thank you for the presentation. Does anybody have any more comments or questions on this?
What do you account for the low numbers in students with that, TELPAS?
The test changed last year, and the students are now being rated by a machine. They have to record into a computer, and they are rated by a machine.
Are you serious?
I am. I'm sorry to say,
Wow.
yes. So it's
They're rated by what now?
A machine,
machine.
a computer,
yes,
AI,
yes.
artificial intelligence.
So their oral language
It's rated by
proficiency is assessed by a computer.
computer.
Yes, sir.
They may read it correctly or may not.
Assessed by a computer. I mean, that's what, whenever I think of that, that's what I always think of is
That is interesting.
it's
When the machine
C-3PO listening to them. I mean, God.
when the machine doesn't understand them, then they go to a human rater, but we don't really know if the machine is really not understanding them and giving them a lower level. But yes.
Who made that decision?
Not
It
it.
wasn't a school district.
Blame me for a lot of stuff, but I
Yes.
We used to encourage African American and white teachers who loved Spanish and good Spanish speakers to go and get that ESL endorsement. Are we still doing that?
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
Yeah, HR, tell me about our ESL requirements. We've gone back and forth on requiring that through the district over the last 20 years.
Teachers are still required to sign on for that, but it's that constant reminder
Yeah. And it's a constant battle because, yeah, you get 5 times to take it, and if you don't pass it that 5th time, you don't ever get to take it again. You can't just keep taking it in perpetuality. But the other problem is you hire a good teacher and then you say, oh, by the way, you have to get this done. If they don't want to get it done, they can go look elsewhere. And then, y'all could say, well, fine, they can go elsewhere. Well, we need good teachers.
So we require this of all teachers?
The overwhelming majority of them, because they have ELT.
Just depends on what classes they teach.
We are required to require it from every elementary teacher, and for secondary levels, it's the English language arts teachers that need to be ESL certified.
And this is exactly why we offer all of those prep courses for them.
So it was good to see the expansion of the dual language program as a parent of a now 4th grader who's in that program. Love that program. I love the school that he attends. It's amazing to hear him and to think that he's my child, because he's the only one in our house who talks like that. You've outlined the certification requirements for bilingual and ESL. What are the certification requirements for dual language?
It's the same.
It's
They
the
have
same.
to be bilingual certified.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, so it doesn't help us with our shortage of bilingual certified teachers to go dual language. Okay, that was my question.
Yeah, community members have asked, why don't you, if dual language is so effective, why don't you just do it everywhere? Well, teacher capacity is one, teacher shortage, teacher credentialing is one thing, then teacher capacity and leadership capacity is the other thing. I mean, those schools that have performed extremely well, they've had some tradition there of being pretty darn good with their dual language program, or they've got really good principals and staff that have really embraced it. And just like any other program, the fidelity is probably the number one component of having success with that. So the challenge for us is going to be how we carry some of these immersions and even some of these dual language through the middle schools, because while we have middle schools that do offer Spanish, and I mean, Jackson probably couldn't say very much in Spanish right now, even though he took 2 years of it in middle school, I guess, maybe 1. But we want to make sure we carry it through the middle school, and we give those as part of a big choice program. And the location is going to be the key, along with the staff. But we're in the early stages of identifying what campus we need to house that through, so that we can get kids all the way through middle school with a very rigorous dual language program, get them into high school where they can do AP Spanish 10 if they want to. There's not really an AP Spanish 10, but I think having a bilingual person, and if you could find a way to pick up a third language like a Mandarin or a German, you're talking about something that Tyler ISD can offer that there's not many other places in the state that can offer that offer that. That's what the big boys offer. So we've got a long-term vision for dual language to carry out, so that kids can become proficient in English and in Spanish at a very rigorous level. Diplomatic careers and business careers, we could really give our kids a chance to be very successful outside of just Texas.
So currently, are all our dual language programs one-way dual language?
The dual, yes.
Okay. So does offering a two-way dual language, so I'm hearing your concern about teacher qualifications and shortage in bilingual. Just knowing how a one-way program works, does two-way give the opportunity for a teacher whose language skills are not in Spanish, are not as good, to be able to succeed in a two-way environment? And is that a strategy we should be exploring?
It could help, but very little. It wouldn't have a huge impact in our recruiting efforts, honestly.
Okay.
Okay, well, that was very informative. Thank you for your presentation. And if there's no further commentary on that, I'll take a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed say nay. Meeting is adjourned.